Hey everyone, I'm Mayor Mike and we're back once again talking point. Today my guest is Cory Rusch. He is the Executive Director of the Central Wisconsin Children's Museum. Welcome, Cory. How you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
So, Children's Museum has been in the heart of the downtown district for a couple of decades now. And believe it or not, there are some people that still don't know it exists. You're kind of tucked away, almost less obvious than a standard storefront. Yeah. Why don't you tell us first about your location, where they can find you, and then a little bit about how the Children's Museum got started.
Sure. Well, we love being in the historic downtown. We're in part of what was used to be was part of the mall, and it's on the 1100 block of Main Street. We're right above the Mission Coffee House, and it's the whole upstairs of that building. So there is no more museum downstairs. We used to have admissions downstairs, but now you have to come upstairs to the admissions desk. And we have a great view of the southern sky, and the sun shines in the windows. The architects must have designed it that way because all winter long the sun just shines right in the windows. It's really a great place to be in the wintertime and when it gets really hot in the summertime too. Yeah, it's a great place to be, but I think our sign is up high because we're on the second floor, and I still run into people who have lived in Stevens Point their whole lives and have never heard of us. And 1994 was the year that it first got started, and yes, we've been around a while.
Yeah, and like I said, you might just walk by it all of the time and not realize it's there because there's no big signs plastered on the front windows or anything. And for those who do know it's there, I mean, it's a great resource. But you're open to the public, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All age groups.
All age groups. It is a children's museum, and one of the things that I first noticed when I got there, and what the feedback I was getting from families was, the toddlers are having a blast. We love this place. Please change something. Right? They wanted to see. It sounded like people were looking for a space that their toddlers could grow through in a way. And I started thinking more about that, and children don't exist in vacuums. They exist in family units. They have older brothers and sisters and parents and a lot of diversity in their families. So while we kind of center around play and the younger learners, it's true that we've expanded into some pretty cool stuff that adults can also get into, everybody through the age spectrum. I've kind of come to think about it as professional play. In a way, how to play and have fun and get something meaningful out of it, like learning.
That's one of the cool things because even when I go there, just playing with some of the gadgets and things there are fun, even for me as a grown-up. And when you are learning something while having fun, it doesn't really seem like learning.
It doesn't seem as much like learning.
Right.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us an idea of some of the exhibits or interactive things that you have going on at the Children's Museum today?
So some of the newer things that we've added is we've really kind of built a fort building section. We have sheets and clips and clamps and ropes and a whole bunch of like foam blocks. I remember when I was a kid, when I would go into places like that, they would have big Lego or something, but they'd have like 5 pieces or 6 pieces.
You can't build a very good
fort. Yeah, you can't do a whole lot, right? So we went down and we've got, I think there's like 70 of these big blocks. And just this morning I was there and, there were 3 different fort units going on and kids were engaging with each other. It was almost like a village. And it is an amazing thing. It's impossible to have a bad day when you're around something like that. It's very therapeutic to go in and play with some of the gadgets and to see the kids, and that's the main thing. And then you also get the adults in there, right? Who doesn't like building a fort?
I agree.
Yeah, so I think that's the main thing. And then it's also the case that we see older students in there building forts with their friends or going into the Lego lab. That's another thing that we've added. The Lego STEM lab can be as simple as, making a little push car or making a piece of robotics that you can drive from your phone. So we have a lot of capability and we're looking really forward and expanding on that. Not a lot of Lego exhibits around. They are difficult to organize and keep organized and
can
clean.
imagine. Pieces everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. But little kids have full access to all these, upgraded things like the Lego lab. And you would think that there would be Lego everywhere. There isn't.
Yeah.
It's outstanding. I thought I was going to be cleaning up a lot more Lego that I'm not cleaning up.
And some of the gadgets regarding engineering, that kids don't know it's engineering, but that's really what it is. Those are the things that I find the most fascinating. You turn this lever and something happens. You crank this handle and something else happens. And I know you've got a few of those exhibits going on right now too.
Well, some of the exhibits are also very old, and we're definitely not going to get rid of them because they're outstanding. Mm-hmm. One of our exhibits that I see almost everybody engage with is 3 pulleys. Mm-hmm. One is just not really a pulley, a block and pulley. It just goes over one wheel and down to a 30-pound weight, and you get to feel that. Mm-hmm. And then you go to the next one, and it does 1 block and pulley turn, and it's half as light or half as heavy. Then you go to the next one, and you can literally see how it's working because they're right next to each other. Wonderful exhibits, very old, and still built very well, and still like some of the favorites that everybody stops at.
Yeah, and you do have rotating exhibits occasionally, because I know at one point you had a mock mayor's office. That was several years ago. Yeah. But you do rotate things out. There's it's like a dental lab.
Yeah, we have a dentist office, and it is amazing to see how many families go in there and play together. That's my favorite thing, is when they're doing it together. And there's all sorts of information, like how much sugar is in this drink, how much sugar is in this drink. Mm-hmm. And what parents tell us is they want to bring their kids to that office first. Yeah. So then when they have to go to the regular dental office, they're ready for it. Sure. It's not as much of a shock.
Yeah, it's a little less scary. We kind of fear the unknown, right? And if you're more comfortable in some environments, you've seen it before, okay, yeah, this is good. I know there's nothing bad here.
Yeah, we've expanded on that a little bit too. We have some new stuff that's coming out. We have a thing called Medic Credit that we've tested in a few of our events, and it's basically learners get they have to perform challenges. They might have to put a Band-Aid on you. Mm-hmm. And then from there, they might have to bandage the end of a finger, which of course gets a little bit more challenging. Okay. And then build a splint, and it goes up from there as far as they want to go. And they do this with their parents or a partner. And Marshfield Medical is supporting us in that. Yeah, awesome. And we're really looking forward to seeing that. These are the things that parents tell us that they would really like for their kids to be exploring with.
That's great. And like I said, some people don't even know you exist. I would encourage anybody who's walking around downtown, pop in. It's the same door. It's like right next to the coffee studio. Yep. And one of the cool things that I think we talked about this last week when I was visiting, one of my favorite things is you have stairs that go up, and it's kind of a forestry scene. Yeah. But they have an elevator that's in the kind of designed like a space shuttle with gadgets for the kids inside the elevator. So you could play Spaceman just on your way up.
Yeah, there are more gadgets more buttons and stuff to push in there than you can push on your way down, kind of thing.
Yeah, so you have fun from the minute you walk in.
Yeah, and I have a little joke, like as people are leaving and the kids go in, they start hitting buttons out. Don't hit the Saturn button.
There you go.
I'm off this weekend. Like, it's going to be a long... And the parents always get it, but the kids sometimes, of course, are like, what? But it is, both of those entrance and exits are, to be honest, the stairway for me, with those huge painted trees. And if you look at the detail that's on some of that, somebody spent just an incredible amount of time painting in there. And it's just, it's breathtaking.
Well, and that's important to note, because the Children's Museum, there's a nominal fee. What is it to get in?
So the fee, this is something that I just grasped recently. Okay. We have never raised our prices.
Never since 1994.
Since 1994.
Wow.
And to me, as the director, I have no intention of raising prices. I don't want to do that to people. For me, the most important thing is it being accessible for everyone. So general admissions is $5 a piece. Okay. And it's been $5 since 1994. Wow. And I don't know who else can say that.
No, I don't know of anybody that can say that. But it's important to know that you're really doing it to break even. It's something for the kids, something for the families to come and enjoy, And that wouldn't be possible unless you had some volunteers and dedicated staff, right?
Right.
So tell me about the volunteers that you've had over the years, how people might be able to volunteer if they want to get involved, and a little bit about your staff.
Yeah, the staff is incredible. We really, through COVID, we really depended on staff.
I can imagine.
Oh, the cleaning was insane. We didn't really know right early on about transmissions, right, through like tabletops and things. So constantly cleaning. We chose to stay open,
Okay.
even though we knew that it was going to cost us, because families had nowhere else to go.
Right.
And we believed that the work we were doing in so much cleaning and stuff, that we could keep it safe. And of course, there are risks to doing that. But we chose to go that route, and we cleaned like crazy. We've never had a COVID transmission through the pandemic. And we opened for time slots, so 1 or 2 families could come in at a time. Huge, loss of revenue for us. But every day we heard what we needed. Thank you for doing this, right?
Yeah.
People had nowhere else to go.
Well, that's great, and that's tremendous that you were able to stay open during the time when arguably families needed places like this more than ever.
More than ever.
But you're right. You have overhead.
Yes.
You're not in it to make money, but you have to pay the bills. You have to keep the lights on. You have to be able to maintain your roof and your cool elevator and those sorts of things. So, how many children or families do you serve in a certain period, whether it's monthly or annually?
That's a great question. I recently did some calculations, and we are on track to serve over 13,000 people in 2022.
13,000 people. That's
13,000 people coming from, you wouldn't believe the different zip codes, right?
Yeah.
So people coming from far to
That's
come
one
to
of
our
the things
museum.
you had told me about, is that people come from outside of Stevens Point to come visit our children's museum.
Yeah.
What's the most unique one you remember?
Oh, there was a family from the UK.
Really? That's pretty wild.
And I loved talking with the young learners because of their accents.
Yeah.
It was just, I just could not get enough of it. It was a really cool experience. We get a lot of people from like Wapaka, Appleton, Wausau, places like that. And in some of these places, there are other museums, very, very good museums, but they're not $5.
Oh, so yeah, it's very affordable, obviously, and it's something to do when people come in. Maybe they're coming in for a baseball, basketball, sports tournament, or whatever it happens to be, and they're looking for just something else to do for the afternoon.
Yeah, something to fill times between games or tournament schedules or whatever it might be.
Stroll through downtown and hey, let's pop in at the Children's Museum.
Yeah, it's a great
So if
place to
someone
hang out.
wanted to get involved with the Children's Museum, whether it's through a paid position or some sort of volunteer effort, what sorts of volunteer openings do you have or need, or what sort of paid positions, staff positions do you have?
We have a curator position open right now. We're because of that 13,000 people that are coming through, we're able to hire another person. We have an incredibly qualified staff. We really like to employ UWSP students, education students, especially if they're like education in art or music. So we get a lot of students coming to do their practicum hours there, and that always makes us feel really good. They can come in at any time, like during normal business hours or whatever, and engage with families. And that's another thing that parents really like. The report that I've gotten back from parents is anytime their kids can have engagement with trustworthy adults, that and get that experience, parents really like that. And we like to be able to offer that. And when we get UWSP students, I mean, they're just top of the, top of the game. And they come in and they play with the kids and do art with them and stuff. And it's really incredible.
Well, I imagine they come in with so much energy.
Yeah.
And passion for working with the younger
really
people
do.
that it's got to be.
And they
quite
want to
engaging.
learn. They want to get that experience. So they're eager to sit down with a kid and do some coloring or whatever it might be.
Great. So I'm curious about this curator position. What does the curator of the Children's Museum do? And if someone was interested in applying, where can they apply?
Well, they can apply either at the Children's Museum, give us a call. They can email me. My email address is just Cory at CWChildren'sMuseum.
That's Cory.
Cory, yep. And the curator at the museum, there are different levels, and it really depends on like one's experience. But we tend to try to get most people in at curator level 2, which means that they are, helping people as they come in through admissions. But they also have a lot of autonomy to build things, create things.
Okay.
We do a lot of exhibits. Everything's an exhibit, right? But an exhibit might be a Metacredit chest that I take and set out. And it's out sometimes, and then we take it back in, rework it, come up with new challenges. And that's what the curators do.
Okay.
We just launched a new program. We're getting back into programming now. We launched a new program called Sculptopia.
Okay, Sculptopia.
Yeah, sculpt. So like sculpturing.
Oh, Sculptopia.
Yeah, sculpt.
Okay.
And that was one of the curator 2s did that. Came up with it on, wrote it up, and we shared it with me, and I was like, you should do that.
So what do they do? What does it involve?
They come in and they make, the first thing they made, they use pool noodles, right?
Okay.
Use pool noodles, and we cut them about this high, and then we make monsters out of them.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty
And
cool.
I was just at the museum, I was gonna bring one, and I was like, oh, can I use that? I'd like to take that. And the kid was like, no.
That's mine.
I wanna take that home. So that's been a huge hit, and we're hearing from the public, they want more of these. They want more of these programs. We're really gonna get into the programming and event part with Halloween. That's the next big one.
Well, let's talk about that
Yeah,
because it's coming up to that season, and one of your biggest events, arguably maybe your biggest fundraiser, is the Halloween Hoedown that you have. Tell us how that got started and what we're going to be able to expect this year.
The museum's been doing it for a long time. I've done it for 3 years now. This will be the 3rd year. The first year was COVID that I did it. So we had to do it was like a scavenger hunt that you could do in your car, which basically people went around and they just answered questions that they could get from outside their car.
Without
Contacting anybody. And we had a pretty good turnout, and people really enjoyed it. People would have preferred to have been able to get out of their car, but it wasn't the situation at that time. So then the next year we called it the Healthy Downtown Halloween Hoedown.
Okay.
Because really it's supposed to be talking about healthy alternatives to candy on Halloween, like mass amounts of candy on Halloween. So they that was the cool year. It was 2021, and we partnered with the businesses downtown, and there were different businesses downtown, and they were called haunt shops.
Okay.
And you came in, you got a free Subway sandwich, right? Subway supplied little snack sandwiches for everybody when they got there, because it's 4 to 8 on a Friday, and kids coming from school, they're hungry, right? So we decided we were going to do that, and Subway helped us out.
Awesome.
And so they got a little snack, they got a bucket, they went around to these different haunt shops and solved puzzles, and they got acorns and codes.
Okay.
And they were like, and they had to follow a map, match shapes on the map, and it got harder as it went.
Okay.
And they went around, and they had all these acorns in the end and these codes. And the codes were for hidden treasure chests in the museum. So then they snooped around the museum, they found these treasure chests, and then they had to put in the secret codes that unlocked them. And guess what was in there? Acorns.
Nice.
So they ended up with this bucket of acorns at the end, and they said, what are we gonna do with this? And the museum said, we think those are really important because those are seeds.
Right.
And we're gonna plant some trees with those. So we're gonna buy those from you. And we bought them from them with what we call museum jing. And it's just 1-to-1 for the US dollar.
Okay.
So they get to experience a little bit of like spending money and economy and stuff. And then they take that money, finally. So multiple steps, a lot of moving parts. We even had a straw bale maze set up on the square. And that was a big hit.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they sold us their seeds, their acorns, and then they had this currency that they went into the snack shop.
Okay.
And the snack shop had cheese curds, granola, juice boxes, anything that was a healthier alternative snack to candy.
Right.
And kids were going home with armloads of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And they were really happy. And that was probably, out of everything that I've done at the museum, that we've done at the museum while I've been there, that was the most successful.
So what might we look forward to this year?
Something like it, better.
But better. You're not giving any secrets out, right?
Well, it's just going to be better. We're going to stick with that same algorithm kind of thing where you have to go and do these different things and you have to follow a map, right? Everybody kind of likes maps.
Oh, sure.
That's kind of fun.
Treasure
right?
hunt.
Treasure hunting.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's going to be a big part of it. And we're going to decorate the museum again, and I'm sure we'll have a few surprises.
Excellent. So when is it scheduled for this year?
This is October 28th, and that's a Friday. We were going to do 4 to 8, but I think now we're doing 4 to 9 because that last hour we're going to have a dance contest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a costume dance contest. Because that's going to be fun. We will probably be playing some Halloween music through the stereo
I like it.
that day. Yeah.
So October 28th, it's a Friday, and it sounds like it's really extensive. So having it go from 4 to 9 is probably pretty good.
Yeah, I think people wanted a little more last year.
Make
4
sure you
hours.
get enough time to do everything.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And then that party in the end where I think that was, in 2021, I was running around because I like something's got to be breaking somewhere, and I was running all over downtown trying to find it, and it worked really well, and I was very exhausted, and I walked up the stairs at the end of the 2020, and the museum was just rocking. There were people around, kids were having a blast, and all the snacks and stuff.
So with all the stuff that you're doing for the 28th, the Halloween Hoedown, with the puzzles and the scavenger hunt and the hay bale, straw bale mazes, the acorns, the treats at the shop, what does it cost to get in something like that?
We haven't fully decided yet.
Okay.
We think we're going to do $20.
Okay.
Not per person. $20 per group.
Per group,
And
so a family unit.
A family unit. And sometimes family units are small and have another family unit with them. We let people decide.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell them how many people can go.
Well, I can't even begin to tell you how affordable that is because, boy, my wife and I go to see a movie for 2 hours of entertainment, and we're spending $30 on tickets. Then you throw in some popcorn or whatever you happen to have there. So $20 for an entire family unit for 5 hours or more of fun, plus all the stuff you get to take home with you.
You're probably going to take home way more than $20.
Yeah, that's quite an affordable price.
Yeah, hopefully we can manage this year with. We could probably take a lot of people in, but we also have to decide. We don't want to sacrifice quality for too many. We might have ticket sales on a set amount. So we're still working on all that, but I'm on it early.
So you brought some props.
I did.
With you.
I did.
Tell us about that. What are these?
So this is my therapy when I'm in my office and I need a break and I want to feel good about things. I come out to the Lego lab and I look at what's being built.
And these are made by your visitors.
Yes.
And gears.
They really are getting into the exploration of the gears, which you can see, like, this doesn't necessarily, what is this, right? They're just putting the axles and the bushings and the gears together and changing directions and experimenting with the basics of engineering.
Yeah, they're learning engineering without knowing they're learning engineering.
Yep, and they look at one gear, gear sizes, they look at one gear and they compare it to the size of another gear. And they can see the relationship, one gear moves more than the other because it's bigger or smaller. And they just come up with, I just grabbed these at random. There's probably 50 of these projects sitting there on the table right now.
So your visitors can come and make something of their own, right?
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
And if they really want to go to town, we had a high school student and their mother come in and they built a Porsche 911 RSR replica.
Really?
And it took them a while, but they sat there and mom put everything in order and they worked as a team and built this car. And it has a cutaway working, it doesn't work, right? It's not an internal combustion plastic engine. But you can turn the car over and as you spin the tires, the whole drivetrain is connected and you can see the pistons going up and down in the engine.
Really?
So I'm explaining to 5-year-olds how an internal combustion engine works with a prop.
That's amazing.
It's got functional steering, it's got suspension, it's a replica.
0 to 60 in like 3.2 seconds, something like that?
Something like it's a really and that one's pretty basic. We also have the Bluetooth technology with the robotics that we're rolling out. So we have a remote cars that you can build and then drive them from your phone.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to stop by and play with some of that stuff.
It's very. I've seen people go in there and have to get dragged out.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's tons of stuff for kids to do.
Yeah.
A fair amount of things for teenagers and adults to do as well.
Sure.
So let's say my kids are grown up, moved on, but I still find a whole lot of value in there. My daughter, we took her there when she was a kid, and I see value in helping the Children's Museum out. How can I support the Children's Museum if I don't show up on a regular basis? Is there something I can donate or financially, or maybe an exhibit idea that I have? How could I help?
Volunteering is one way to help. The cleaning, we're painting walls, we're upgrading colors, things like that. That's one way to help.
Okay.
Another way to help, I can always give money, right? We're in a financial crisis right now, trying to find a way forward after the pandemic. Our budget is a fraction of what a lot of other museums use. We've gotten really good at getting a lot out of a little. All of our stuff is built in-house. It's basically cleverness and creativity that's getting this stuff going. Of course you can make a monetary donation. Okay. Another really good way to support the museum is you get 2 bangs for your buck. If you're not interested in for your family having a membership, buy one for another family. And then that family gets in there, we get the membership, we get the numbers coming in, and it helps fill the financial need as well.
So what does a membership cost?
$75 a year.
So for the whole year?
For the whole year.
365 days, you can show up whenever you want.
Yep. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really, when we're open.
We figured out why you have a budget problem.
If we honestly, I looked at the data, if we could charge more and that would fix this, I might be compelled, but I really don't want to put this on those people.
No, you serve a segment of society that arguably needs something affordable and educational to do. So I'm not a fan of kicking up the rates at all, but I hope there's some generous people out there watching or listening that see that value in the Children's Museum. And if I want to make a donation, what do I do? Where can I send it? Can you donate online?
Yeah, you can go right to our website, CWChildren'sMuseum.org. Yep. Okay. CWChildren'sMuseum.org. And then you click its PayPal, send it.
Okay, awesome. Well, heck, we can do that right away.
That's an easy one. Yep.
One last thing before we go. What are your hours of operation? When can people come visit?
That's an interesting one because we've been getting asked a lot about days that we're closed. So we will open for our private parties are super affordable, right? If you want to have a private party at the museum, super affordable.
So you can get your museum all to yourself for your kid's birthday or some other special occasion. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Mondays and Tuesdays we're usually closed, but we will open for special events or if somebody wants us to. And then it's Wednesdays are 9 to 4, Thursdays are 9 to 7, and then Fridays are 9 to 4 and Saturdays are 9 to 4.
9 to 4 a.m.
And and then we open on those off days if somebody wants to. I think what people are starting to realize is that they can get a group of friends and families together, and it's very affordable to get a private party at the museum.
Wow. Well, Cory, I want to thank you very much for coming in and telling us a little bit about the Children's Museum, arguably a downtown staple for the past couple of decades. So if you want to get involved, it's CWChildren'sMuseum.org, or stop by. If you haven't been there in a while, everyone's welcome just to stop by and look around. And I appreciate everything you do, Cory, and everything that the Children's Museum gives to the city. Until next time, I'm Mayor Mike, and we've been Talking Point.
Talking Point with Mayor Mike Wiza is produced by Stevens Point Community Media. StevensPoint.com/TV.